Hey, what's going on? I got another video for you for the Photog Nation. This is something that a lot of people ask me about, and I've never really touched on. I want to touch on it here first for you guys before I release anything. Well, actually, I probably never will release this. I want this to be private, mainly because it's talking about what I charge for weddings, and I hardly ever talk about this. So unless you're actually in a wedding meeting with me, but I hardly ever talk about this online or on the internet or in a video or anything, because I do change my pricing often, I guess you would say. But I want to tell you how I structure my pricing and why I structure my pricing. Now, I don't have this scripted or anything. This is literally just off the cuff for the Photog Nation, for the Patreon, for the people that support me. I want you guys to know a little bit more deeper into the business side of it and why I charge what I do and how I charge what I do. So we're going to get into it. I'm going to switch over to the other setup, the other camera, and I'm going to show you basically a screenshot of my pricing. So let's get into it right now. And so I'm just going to basically run you through exactly how I charge, what I do, and what I charge. So yeah, I have the screen capturing, and this is the back of my brochure. So I want to talk about my brochure here. I do have a front and a back. They're actually printed out there in my studio, and you can pick them up. Otherwise, I do send them out. So you can actually get an email if you send me an inquiry on my website. I send this out. Now, the pricing is covered up just because I want to be able to show you what I charge as we go through it. So we're going to get into it. Now, I have 3 price options. Now, for the longest time, I always heard you should have 3 prices as far as something that you don't want to book, something that you want to book, and something that you dream that you can book. So 3 different price levels. I don't really go with that per se, but then again, I kind of do. So this is going to be talking about just photography, not my videography pricing. So my videography pricing is a little different, and we can go through that in another video. This is just for photography. So I want to talk about the way that I do it. I have a half day, I have a full day, and I have a full day photo plus video option, which I guess you could consider that my dream of booking it, because the price is pretty freaking high. But in comparison, I guess it's really not compared to what others charge for that option. I still feel like I'm a little on the low end for pricing. I'm told that I should keep raising it and keep raising it. It's hard for me to justify it personally and inside. So yeah, let's talk about my pricing. I have a half day, I have a full day, I have a full day plus video, and then I also do offer hourly and just engagement sessions, but I'm going to touch on them, but I literally never book them because the engagement sessions are always included in my collections. And yeah, I don't ever really sell the hourly because they'd rather just go with one of the collections. Now, the first thing that I'm going to talk about with you guys is calling it a collection and not a package. The reason I call it a collection is because a collection metaphor or subconsciously can always be added onto, where a package feels like it's a beginning and an end. It's a complete thing, where a collection can always be added on. So if they want to add prints or canvases or anything later, albums, that collection is still open, where when you say the word package, it subconsciously makes you think complete. So collection is just kind of a word that feels smoother, feels better, and it allows you to add more stuff on, honestly. So what we're going to do is I'm going to talk about each one. The one I'm going to talk about first is my half day. My half day collection. So it's $2,490 plus tax for half days. It's up to 6 hours of coverage with just me, not a second photographer. It's just me. Basically what 6 hours is going to cover, it's going to cover the ceremony through the speeches, roughly. It doesn't cover the getting ready. It doesn't cover any of the reception, stuff like that. Now, when I have my meetings with my wedding couples, I always let them know that I'm really not ever checking my clock. Like, I'm not going to look down at my watch and be like, oh, 6 hours is up, I'm out of here. I'm just letting them know that this is a rough estimate of the time frame that it'll cover. So it'll cover the ceremony, which I usually get there about a half hour prior to the ceremony, 45 minutes prior to the ceremony, through the speeches. It usually doesn't cover the first dances. It doesn't cover any of the reception, stuff like that. It is just ceremony through the speeches, through sometimes just through dinner. So you're getting the ceremony, the family informal, and the wedding party photos, and a little bit of the reception hall. But 6 hours is not that much time. You're also only just getting me. You're not getting a second photographer, which most of the time is my wife, Casey. So you're only getting one angle of all the shots, so that walking down the aisle, you're only going to get one shot. Now, granted, I try to sway back and forth and get both angles as quick as I can, but it's not guaranteed. So that is one thing that you're going to miss with only getting one photographer, is you're going to miss those chances of the dual angle stuff, like if you do a first look with your dad or do a first look with your significant other. You may miss that because you only have one angle. So that's one thing that is the downside of the half day. So you're only getting one photographer. Engagement session is included with it. So you don't have to worry about that. And my engagement sessions are a 60 to 90-minute session at a location of your choosing. So as long as it falls into that time. So engagement session is included. And like I said, it's included in all of my collections. You get the private online gallery, which is a private website for you, the wedding couple, to look at their photos. So that is included as well. Digital negatives, that is just kind of a word for raw photo or unedited photos. I'm a little different when it comes to photography. I do offer my unedited photos. Now, I don't offer raw photos. I don't want you editing the photos. If you're the wedding couple or you have a friend that's a photographer, I don't want you editing those photos. But you do get the unedited photos in their entirety. So that's the digital negatives. I do include that as well as the edited photos. You also get a $100 product credit. So if you're ordering prints or something like that, you get $100 credit. Now, I say $100 credit, but let's just think about canvas itself is like anywhere between $500 and $1,000, depending on the size. So really a $100 credit is really not much. If you get prints, my 8x10 prints are $10 a piece. So you could get 10 8x10s for free. But it's just a credit, so most of the time they're going to end up spending more money. So that's the good thing about seeing a collection, is after the wedding, they can come in here and I can show them all of their photos. And then that's really when I try to sell albums, when I try to sell canvases, metal art, or metal prints, all sorts of craziness. That's where you can make, easily another $1,000, $1,500 just selling extra stuff. You can make a couple thousand, honestly, if they're ordering an album, if they're ordering a couple canvases. You can really start making some money off that stuff. And they also get the print release, so if they want to take it somewhere else and get their own photos printed, they can. They don't have to come to me. I do offer it, but they don't have to. I just try to get them to, because that's more money in my pocket. So that's the half-day collection for $2,490 plus tax, which is Wisconsin tax. The reason people ask me why I have tax on mine, because it's a service. So technically a service you don't have to have tax on, is what I've been told or what I've read. So mine actually comes with a physical product, so I actually have to do tax. So when they do that $100 credit, because they're probably going to get prints, then they're getting a physical product, so it has to have tax on it. So that is the reason. All right, so let's go to, this is the wedding collection that I sell all the time. I'd say 9 out of 10 weddings book this collection right here. This is the complete collection. So this is $3,990 plus tax, $4,000. The reason I do $3,990 is because most of the time they look at that 3 and not think about $4,000. So if you're charging $3,990, you're technically charging $10 less than $4,000, but the number looks better to the viewer, to the couple that is interested. So that's why I do the $3,990, the $2,490, so $2,500 or $4,000. That's why that's done that way. So there's a little tip as far as that goes. So the complete collection is literally the one that I sell all the time. It is up to 10 hours. So what that's going to cover is that's going to cover your getting ready, your ceremony, your family informal, your speeches, your wedding party, and part of your reception. So you're getting 10 hours. So you're getting me from, let's say, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. So I can pretty much cover everything. You're actually getting me and a second photographer, which, like I said, most of the time is my wife, Casey. So you're getting me and a second photographer with that collection. So then you're getting all the angles that I talked about earlier. You're getting both angles for first looks, the walking down the aisle, extra angles when I'm out taking detail shots. Casey can be taking shots of people getting ready, stuff like that. So you're getting 2 photographers for 10 hours instead of 1 photographer for 6 hours. It allows a lot more coverage. It allows a lot more photos, especially when they're getting those digital negatives back. They're getting a lot more photos back then. And then pretty much everything else is the same, except when you get down. So you get the engagement session is included. You got the private gallery, which is their own website that's locked. You get the digital negatives, which I already talked about. And then you actually, instead of getting the $100 credit, the $100 photo credit, I actually do a 20-page photo album for them. So this is a hard flush-bound photo album. I have some ordered that I will share an image in a couple of weeks when those come in. But yeah, you get a 20-page album. It's for me, it costs right around like $100, but if anybody is purchasing one, they're $250. So I make $150 off every album that I sell. Now that's the base product. There are upgrades like leather bound and all sorts of crazy boxes and all sorts of extra. But the one they get is right around $100 for me to order. And if I were to charge them, it's a $250 value. So that's what they're getting. Now, something that I offer that is probably ridiculously stupid for me to do because it takes a lot of my time on wedding day is same-day edits. So what I do is I do same-day edits where I'm actually editing on my iPad throughout the day as Casey's taking photos. I try to sneak over and jump on my iPad, edit photos. At the reception, I have a TV with a table set up for them to see fully edited photos at the reception. Now, this year, I also started implementing same-day prints, which I highly suggest nobody do because it is a complete headache, but it's an amazing thing to offer, and I'm honored to be pretty much the only person that I know is crazy enough to do something like this. But yeah, so I have a small printer that I bring with me, and I take one of my favorite edited photos from the day, and I actually print it out on 40 to 50 4x6 prints with my watermark on it, and I give it to them to put around on tables, to give to parents, to give to grandparents, friends, stuff like that, to give away as they're leaving, as they're walking around the reception, stuff like that. It's a special keepsake that the wedding party can give, or that wedding guests can take home with them from that day. Fully edited photo. Typically, it's my favorite one. I've never had any couples say that they didn't like it either. So yeah, but it's something that the whole printing process is kind of a hassle, especially when I'm also doing same-day edits. So I'd highly suggest not doing it. But it really is a selling point for me, so take it for what it's worth. So that's my complete collection. That is the one that I sell pretty much all the time. It's all day, 2 photographers. It's pretty much everything you need for a wedding for $4,000. The one that I was talking about earlier, this is my photo and video collection. So the video collection is pretty much everything that's in the complete collection, plus a dedicated videographer and drone footage. You get a cinematic video of your wedding and a cinematic video and a full video of the ceremony for $2,000 more. So that is what I added on. I use my friend Casey Nelson, so it's me and 2 Caseys at these weddings. So Casey Nelson Media is the person that I use for my videography as of right now of filming this. He's the guy that I go to for that. So he does the videography. He makes his $2,000. I still make my $4,000 off the wedding, and it's no different. So this is the one that I kind of always try to push. It's kind of hard because of that $6,000 price tag, but it's weird because most weddings, they'll book a $4,000 photographer and still pay like $2,000 to $2,500 for a videographer later, when they could have just booked it all together and had the same company working together and all of that. But I don't know. It's just something that I see that could be avoided, but I don't know if it's just a price number or what it is. But yeah, so that's the difference. That's the photo and video collection. It's the exact same as the complete collection, except for it has dedicated videography as well. $6,000. So there's your prices: $2,500 for a half day, $4,000 for a full day, or $6,000 for photo and video. Now, like I said, I do offer hourly rates for $500 an hour. So if you only need me for just the ceremony or just ceremony and family formal photos, you can do that. Typically, those end up being like $1,000 or $1,500. So for 3 hours for $1,500, or for 6 hours, you can get me for $2,400, $2,500. So you're saving like $500 by going with the collection, especially if you need me for 6 hours. Also, an engagement photo is $500 an hour. Like I said, they're usually included in the collection, so nobody really books that either. But it is an option if you wanted to go that route. That's my pricing, my half day, my full day plus video, and then hourly rates. So I hope this helped you guys kind of figure out how to price your stuff and why you should price your stuff. Basically, the way that it kind of breaks down for me is I want to be able to make sure that I'm making enough money to feel like I'm satisfied throughout the day and with all the editing that comes afterwards, because it's really trying to push the fact that they're investing in something for their future, and understanding that you're going to be spending a lot of time working on these photos, especially if you really do deep dive edits like I do. I mean, yeah, you're only shooting for 6 or 10 hours, but you're also spending 30 to 40 to 50 hours in editing. So keep that in mind when you're pricing. If you're just starting out with pricing, you should probably price a little small or a little lower, just to kind of to get your foot in the door. I highly suggest being a second shooter for somebody, putting a page or putting a post out, trying to get somebody to let you second shoot for them. That's really a great way to build a portfolio for weddings. But if you've already established yourself and you're really just trying to figure out how to price yourself, I hope this helped you guys. I hope you kind of get an idea of why and how I price myself. If you have any questions, leave a question down, or leave your question down below, and I will be happy to answer it. And I want to thank you guys for being part of this Patreon, the Photog Nation. In 2021, I really want to try to grow this thing and become a whole community of people trying to learn from each other. So I will talk to you guys later. Once again, thank you, and I'll talk to you. Peace.